Let's be brutally honest. She doesn't respect you because deep down she doesn't feel you. Not your words, not your intentions, not your love. She feels your uncertainty, the hesitation in your tone, the softness in your boundaries, the way you look at her for validation instead of standing in your own certainty. And that's when it happens. Slowly, quietly, she starts to pull back. Her tone changes, her admiration fades. She starts testing you, not because she's cruel, but because she's trying to feel what she once felt, your strength. You see, women don't fall in love with how much you give them. They fall in love with how much they respect you. Respect isn't earned through words or kindness. It's built through your presence, through the way you carry yourself when the world doubts you, through the way you say no without explaining, through the way you walk away from what disrespects you. Most men chase approval. They think if they show loyalty, affection, and effort, she'll finally see their worth. But the truth is, effort without self-respect is weakness, and women can smell that. They can feel when your love is desperate, when your heart is starving for validation instead of guided by purpose. You've been told that to win her heart, you have to be soft, agreeable, and endlessly patient. But the truth is, that version of you repels her, because she doesn't want a man who obeys her every mood. She wants a man who holds his ground, who doesn't get emotionally lost in her storms. A man she can trust to stay solid when she tests him, when she doubts him, when she challenges him. And yes, she will challenge you. Every woman will, not to destroy you, but to see if your strength is real. It's her subconscious way of asking, can I trust this man with my heart? If you flinch, if you argue to prove your worth, if you chase when she pulls away, you've already lost that trust. The type of man she respects isn't always the nicest. He's not always the most romantic, but he's centered. He doesn't break character to win her back. He doesn't seek reassurance. He doesn't need her to make him feel like a man, because he already knows he is one. You want her respect? Then stop negotiating for it. Stop explaining why you deserve it. Respect comes from how you carry yourself when no one is watching. It's built in the quiet moments, how you react when she gives you attitude, how you respond when someone disrespects you in front of her, how you handle rejection or chaos without losing your composure. That's when she feels something primal. That's when her body tells her, this is a man I can't control. And that's the moment attraction becomes irreversible, because now you're not just another man trying to please her. You're a force she has to rise to meet. You want to know why some men can lose a woman and still have her chasing them months later? It's because she couldn't break them, and that shook her. Because in her heart, she knows that kind of strength is rare. But here's the twist. Becoming that kind of man isn't about pretending to be cold or emotionless. It's not about arrogance or fake confidence. It's about becoming complete. You stop chasing what you lack and start building what you are. You lead yourself before you ever try to lead her. Every time you react to her emotions, instead of standing firm in yours, you tell her, without words, that she's the leader. And once she feels that, once she senses that you're following her emotional lead, the respect begins to die. She doesn't even choose it consciously. It just happens. Because a woman's nature isn't drawn to a man who bends to her moods. It's drawn to the man who stands tall through them. So, ask yourself right now, who are you when she tests you? Who are you when she ignores you, when she pulls away, when she throws emotional chaos your way? Do you become desperate for her reassurance? Or do you remain calm, unmoved, quietly powerful, because your peace doesn't depend on her reaction? That's the moment that defines you. That's when she feels the difference between a boy who needs her love and a man who commands her respect. And the truth is, she'll never admit this to you. She'll never say, I stopped respecting you because you made me the center of your world. But she'll show it in the way she looks at you, in the way she stops trying, in the way she slowly loses attraction. But if you become this type of man, grounded, calm, confident in your value, you'll never have to chase respect again. It'll follow you everywhere, in your relationships, in your career, in your life. Because the man who owns his peace owns his world. Tell me this, if she saw you today at your lowest, your most uncertain, would she feel your strength or would she sense your need for her approval? Comment below with your honest answer. And if this message hits something inside you, like subscribe and share this video with a brother who needs to hear it. Every man wants to be respected, but very few understand what truly earns it. Respect isn't about status, money, or looks, it's about energy. The energy that says, I don't need you to choose me, I choose myself. That energy is rare, and that's why it's magnetic. Women feel it the moment a man walks into a room. It's the silent confidence, the calm dominance, the quiet certainty that can't be faked. But here's the trap most men fall into. They confuse being liked with being respected. They think if they're agreeable, if they never argue, if they always try to make her happy, she'll admire them more. But all that does is teach her one thing, that your emotions are negotiable, that your principles can be bent if she applies enough pressure. A woman doesn't test you to see if you'll obey. She tests you to see if you'll stay solid. She wants to feel that no matter how emotional she becomes, you'll stay unshaken. She doesn't want control. She wants to trust your leadership. But when you break down every time she's upset, when you panic every time she pulls away, you show her you're not that leader. You're reacting to her instead of guiding the energy between you. Let me tell you something that no one teaches men anymore. Emotional control is masculine power. It's not the absence of emotion, it's the mastery of it. When you can feel everything, anger, desire, pain, and still move with calm purpose, that's when she respects you. Because she knows she can't manipulate your peace. She knows your world doesn't rise or fall based on her moods. Think of the kind of man who commands a woman's attention effortlessly. He doesn't chase, he doesn't over-explain, and he doesn't compete for her validation. He knows his value and he walks like it. If she walks away, he lets her. If she returns, he welcomes her, but never loses himself in her presence. That's masculine balance, and women can't resist it. But to get there, you have to stop seeing her as your emotional compass. Too many men make a woman their source of validation. They let her approval decide how they feel about themselves. And once you do that, she senses it. It changes everything. She can't trust a man who doesn't lead himself. She might care for you, she might even love you, but she won't respect you. You can't fake this energy. You can't just say, I don't care. She'll know if you're bluffing. This power comes from a man who has faced his own darkness, who has suffered, who has built himself from the ground up. A man who doesn't just say he's strong, he's been through enough to prove it. And that's the kind of man who earns respect without demanding it, because he carries a quiet certainty that says, I've been through worse than losing you. That's not arrogance, that's peace, and peace is power. Now here's something most men never realize. Women respect how you handle yourself more than how you handle her. She's watching how you deal with life, how you respond when things go wrong, how you speak to people who can't give you anything, how you show up when you're not being watched. That's what tells her who you are. If you crumble under pressure, if you let the world dictate your mood, if you live in emotional chaos, she can't respect that, because she can't trust that version of you to protect her energy. Women feel safety through your stability. When you're stable, she can relax. When you're reactive, she becomes defensive. The moment she realizes your peace depends on her, she loses attraction, because she doesn't want to be your emotional home. She wants to join you in the one you've already built. That's the difference between a man who needs love and a man who attracts it. You have to become the kind of man who doesn't need to prove his worth. You don't argue to convince. You don't chase to reassure. You let your actions speak. You become the mountain, not the wind. Solid, grounded, unmoved by temporary storms. Because when you do, something changes in how women treat you. They stop testing as much. They stop disrespecting your boundaries. They start showing up with softness instead of resistance, because they can feel they're standing in front of a man who doesn't play emotional games. That's the type of man she can't manipulate, the type she can't control, the type she naturally respects. And here's the thing, she doesn't even choose it consciously. It's instinct. Every woman, no matter how modern or independent, feels that deep biological pull toward a man who leads himself first. So stop asking, how do I make her respect me? And start asking, what kind of man would I respect? because that's the man she's waiting to meet. The man who doesn't just talk about confidence, he embodies it. The man who isn't moved by rejection because he knows he's the prize. This isn't about arrogance, it's about understanding your worth. You can love deeply, you can care fully, you can be kind, but never let anyone mistake your kindness for weakness. Be loving, but be dangerous. Be gentle, but never be soft. Because a man who balances power with peace, that's the man no woman can forget. So tell me, when was the last time you acted out of strength instead of fear? When was the last time you stood firm when every part of you wanted to chase? Drop your answer in the comments. And if this spoke to your core, like, subscribe, and share this video with a brother who's losing himself for love. Let me tell you a truth that will sting a little. The reason she doesn't respect you isn't because she stopped loving you. It's because you stopped respecting yourself. Somewhere along the way, you forgot who you were before she came along. You made her your mission instead of your mirror. And that's when everything began to fall apart. See, a woman can feel when a man has lost himself in her. She can sense when his focus, his purpose, his drive, all begin to orbit around her approval. At first, she might like the attention. It feels flattering. But over time, it starts to drain her, because she can feel that you've traded your masculine essence for her comfort, and when that happens, she doesn't feel safe. A man who loses his mission loses her respect. You can't lead love from a place of emptiness. You can't make her feel secure when you're lost in confusion. Women don't need a perfect man. They need a centered one. A man with direction. A man who wakes up with purpose. A man who doesn't need her to validate his worth because his life already reflects it. But when a man abandons that, when he starts living for her attention instead of his vision, she subconsciously begins to pull away. Not out of cruelty, but because she feels like she's carrying both energies now. She's forced into her masculine because you've abandoned yours. That's when she starts acting distant, defensive, and cold. And you sit there wondering, what did I do wrong? You started living for her instead of leading yourself. And here's what no one tells you. Women don't fall for the man who worships them. They fall for the man who inspires them, the man who reminds them, through his discipline and focus, that greatness still exists in a world full of weakness. That's why she'll choose the man who's hard to impress over the man who constantly seeks her approval. Not because she's cruel, but because she feels something real in that man, something grounded. His validation comes from within. His worth isn't tied to her reactions. He doesn't crumble when she's moody. He doesn't chase when she withdraws. He stays the course. And that kind of man she can't help but admire. So if you want her respect back, stop trying to win her through words. Win it through your presence, through your discipline, through the way you show up every day for your goals, your purpose, and your peace. When a woman sees that you're more devoted to your mission than to her moods, she feels something sacred: trust. That's the kind of trust that creates attraction that doesn't fade. Because now she feels safe in your leadership. She doesn't have to question if you'll collapse under pressure. She doesn't have to test you to see where you stand. She knows. Because your actions prove it daily. Every time you choose self-control over reaction, every time you choose focus over distraction, every time you choose peace over validation, you teach her something. You teach her that you're not like the rest. You teach her that she can respect you because you respect yourself. And yes, this will trigger her at times. The moment you reclaim your power, she might resist. She might accuse you of being distant, cold, or changed. But that's only because she feels the shift of energy. She can sense she no longer controls your emotions. And once that happens, she'll either rise to match your new standard, or she'll fall away. Either way, you win. Because a man who leads himself doesn't chase outcomes, he attracts alignment. He knows that not every woman can walk beside a man of purpose. And that's okay. He's not bitter, he's selective. Because his peace is sacred. That's what separates men who get respected from men who get used. The respected man knows who he is and never negotiates it. The used man changes his tone, his behavior, and even his morals just to keep her happy. And ironically, that's the very thing that makes her lose respect for him. She doesn't want perfection. She wants consistency. She wants to look at you and feel that you'll still be the same man when the world tests you. That's what builds unshakable attraction. So stop begging for her respect. Earn it by standing tall in who you are. Get back to your grind. Start building again. Go to the gym. Read, learn, grow. Create a life that commands admiration, not pity. Let your silence become your message. Because when a man truly locks in on his purpose, he becomes untouchable. That's when she looks at you differently. That's when her tone changes, her energy softens, her eyes start searching for your approval again. Because now she feels that she's in the presence of a man who doesn't just talk about confidence, he lives it. That's the moment she realizes she can't replace you. So here's my question for you. If you stripped away your relationships, your titles, your comfort, who would you be when no one's watching? Would you still respect the man in the mirror? Comment your answer below. And if this hit your soul, like, subscribe, and share this with a man who needs to remember who he is. Let's be honest, every man wants to feel like he's that man. The one she looks at with quiet admiration, the one she speaks about with respect in her voice, the one she can't manipulate, can't forget, can't replace. But very few ever become him because they never face the truth about what it takes to become that kind of man. It's not about getting her back. It's not about winning arguments. It's not even about love. It's about mastery. Mastery over yourself, over your emotions, over the chaos that life throws at you. Because when a man is mastered by his emotions, he's a slave to validation. But when he masters his emotions, he becomes untouchable. That's what women feel but can't explain. It's not your muscles, your money, or your words that pull her in. It's your composure, your ability to stand still when most men would collapse. That's what creates emotional polarity. She feels safe, not because you're perfect, but because you're anchored. There's something magnetic about a man who can be calm while everything around him is burning. It's not that he doesn't care, it's that he's learned to respond, not react. He's not guided by impulse, he's guided by principle. And that kind of man doesn't just earn respect, he commands it. You want to know what the real test of a man is? It's not when things are easy. It's when the woman you love stops admiring you, when the world doubts you, when nothing seems to go right, and you still move with quiet confidence. That's when your true character is revealed. Because the truth is, women respect what they can depend on. And if she can't depend on you to stay grounded when life gets hard, she won't trust you with her heart. She'll drift away, not because she stopped caring, but because you stopped leading. You must become the kind of man whose silence says more than most men's speeches. The kind of man who doesn't chase closure, who doesn't beg to be understood, who doesn't explain himself to people committed to misunderstanding him. A man whose actions make his presence felt, even when he says nothing at all. That's when you reach a level of power most men never experience. Emotional detachment. Not coldness, not apathy, but emotional discipline. The power to love deeply without losing yourself. To walk away without hatred. To choose peace over validation. A man like that doesn't fear losing a woman because he knows he'll never lose himself. And when a woman senses that kind of self-trust, she can't help but respect it. It's primal. It's instinctual. It awakens something inside her that words can't touch. Because deep down, she doesn't want to lead you. She wants to trust you. She wants to feel that your world is bigger than her, that you're building something beyond the relationship, that your mission comes before her mood, that she's with a man who can handle pressure, rejection, and life's storms without breaking down. And that's the paradox. When you stop trying to be everything for her, she finally starts to respect you. When you stop chasing, she starts seeking. When you stop begging for her time, she starts offering it freely. Because now she knows she's with a man who doesn't need her approval to feel complete. But becoming that man takes pain. You'll have to let go of the need to be liked. You'll have to face rejection and silence without folding. You'll have to rebuild your confidence from nothing, brick by brick. But on the other side of that process is freedom. Freedom from fear. Freedom from neediness, freedom from emotional chaos. That's when you become dangerous in the best way possible, not because you harm others, but because no one can manipulate your peace again. You move with quiet confidence. You listen more, react less. You walk into a room and people feel your presence before you even speak. And when she looks at you, she feels it too. She feels that she's standing in front of a man who's become. A man who doesn't need her, but still chooses her. That choice is powerful because it's rooted in strength, not desperation. This is who you were meant to be all along. Not a man who chases approval, but a man who creates impact. Not a man who reacts to emotions, but one who controls his energy. Not a man who's afraid of being alone, but one who finds peace in solitude. That's the type of man who changes everything. The type she respects without needing to be told why. The type who doesn't have to demand respect because he embodies it. You see, she can't respect you until you become this type of man, because she can't trust what you haven't yet mastered. Respect isn't given freely. It's mirrored back by the energy you project. So stop asking what she wants and start asking what you need to become, because once you rise, everything around you begins to align. So let me ask you something personal. If she were to look at you right now, how you live, how you move, how you carry yourself, would she feel that you're that man? Or would she still sense the boy inside you searching for her approval? Be honest with yourself. Then answer in the comments. And if this message woke something up inside you, if it reminded you of the man you're meant to be, like this video, subscribe for more and share it with a friend who's ready to rise from the version of himself that forgot his power. Because the world doesn't need more men chasing validation. It needs more men who lead themselves.